Made it through another week in the trenches, and trading exposure therapy is off to a good start this week. Over the last 2 weeks, I had noticed that I was really struggling to enter trades, and every day that went by, I realized it was getting harder and harder for me to click the button. I would see the setup and I would say, I'm going to take it, I'm going to take it, I'm going to take it, and I could not get myself to click the button. Before I knew it, the trade was gone. It was too late, and then thankfully, I am disciplined enough to not FOMO into it and not overtrade and do all that kind of stuff. My issue is the opposite and holding back too much. So on Tuesday, when it had been, I'm pretty sure 2 weeks since I had taken a trade, I noticed that this was going on and I said, I need to take a trade today. That's it. I need to break out of this because if not, it's just going to be day after day after day where I don't take the setup. So I ended up taking 3 trades this week. 2 L's, 1 W, ending the week green, which is good. Obviously, would have loved to have better results, but at least I was able to execute on 3 out of the 5 days. So my idea to get out of this trading hesitation and this fear for no reason. I mean, I know the I think I know like the psychology about why I think it's happening, but it's just not entirely like realistically good reasons, right? Like that I would just lose and lose and lose and lose forever. But because my risk management is in check and my data has shown for the last year and a half that I'm break even like this, like I should not have to worry and fear that I will just never win a trade again. Like as long as I'm following the strategy, right? If I go off the rails, that's a completely different story. But following the strategy, the probabilities, the data is there that I should be okay. So that should be wiped out of my mind. Anyway, my idea was to force myself to take at least 1 trade a day when the conditions are right to get out of this fear of executing. And it's kind of weird because this is like a stage, right? I wasn't like this a couple of weeks ago when all these crazy candles started happening and the war and all of that stuff. My fear just like rocketed up because I didn't know when one of those crazy candles was going to come out around the corner and just wipe everything out, which I guess is valid, right? It's a valid fear because it's happening almost every day with a crazy candle, right? So it's not like that's not the case, but yeah, that's when I noticed it because I was doing good. I was taking trades almost every day, and then all of a sudden it was just like, nope, I can't get myself to click the button. So by saying I'm going to take a trade every single day, I kind of am trying to trick my brain and say, okay, I have 2 options, right? Option number 1 is when I see my setup, I take my setup. Or option number 2 is I see my setup, I skip my setup, and then I'm having to take a trade that is lower probability because I decided to skip out on my setup. My setup that was back tested, my setup that I see is green, my setup that I see play out again and again and again. So that's me kind of trying to like trick my brain almost to be like, well, you can either take the setup or you're gonna make yourself take something worse. So your choice, choose wisely. So far, so good, again, the win rate isn't great, but still green P&L and only out of 3 trades, so that's not like a full sample size yet. Let's go through the 3 trades real quick. So for this month, sitting up a nice solid $28 and change. Only taken 3 trades, 33% win rate, 33% day win, and this right here is good because I had my full 2R trade and then both of my L's were not a full RL. Let's go to this first trade. This was not an A+ setup. This is the trade that I forced myself to take the day that I said if I don't take something, like I just need to take a trade. So I was taking a short. Okay, and that was because I missed my perfect entry over here. As you can see, it was a break and retest on the 5-minute. There was actually two shorts that I could have taken, and I didn't take either one of them. 2-minute break retest inversion right here, boom, should have entered there. So when we got this 5-minute break and retest again, that is when I entered. It was a 5-minute break and retest. It was the 1-minute break and retest. However, it was coming off of an uptrend. It did shift, but that one, and it was the 2-minute right here. It was above, and it got whipped back up. So it wasn't an A+ setup at all. But, if I had to take something, it was by the moving averages. I was going based off of, thinking that this trend would continue. you know, trend line kind of continuing lower, just didn't go like that, but it's fine. I ripped the band-aid off and I kept the loss small, 20 bucks, so not, not a big deal, and I'm just happy that I was finally able to take the trade. Then on Wednesday, I was actually able to execute on my setup. Another short, $63, 2-minute break and retest, 1-minute break and retest, fair value gap, and with the 5-minute trend. So 15-minute took some liquidity up here, and then we got a shift. We got this nice little flag here, but that was at open. I don't trade like right at open like that, so I had to wait. Then when we came back in here, going to the 5-minute, we had that break, retest, rejection. On the 2-minute, we put in this nice gap on that drop off of the moving average, and then we came back into it. That is where I entered, which was also a tap back into this 1-minute. Boom, boom. Obviously, this guy got whipped back up. I entered when it was, pushing down more. A little fakey, but it's fine. We battled through this. I thought I was going to get it stopped out multiple times, and then it finally broke. I felt okay with this trade because it was executed when it was needing to be executed, right? I didn't sit there and hesitate and then not enter till all the way down here. I executed where I had to, and then I put I think my stop was, I want to say my stop was at the top of this 2-minute gap right here. Maybe it was a little bit lower, but yeah, it was around there. So that's why I thought every time it would pop up here, I thought I was going to get stopped out, but it finally dropped. Obviously, I sold a bit early, but that's where I wanted to get out because, I don't know, there was something over here that I wanted to target. On Thursday, I did not take a trade. There were 2 trades that I saw, technically 3. 2 trades that I didn't take for a reason, and then 1 trade which was after this crazy move up. It did do a break and retest of the previous day high, which it was so extended that I was worried about a large pullback at that point. So I didn't take it. Obviously, looking back, yes, you could look at the chart after and say it was a perfect break and retest of previous day high. Like, just trust it. I'm just not there yet. It had a huge, let me see if I can pull it up on this trade. I'm pretty sure this candle right here is like retesting previous day high. So that could have been entry, but that was after this huge push up, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't take it, but it's fine, whatever. So coming into today, I was still aware that we have a lot of unfilled gaps from all of this upside move, right? So I was thinking some sort of slight sell-off. We did get a little sell-off, but not to where I was thinking, right? I was at least thinking starting of these gaps right in here on the 15. However, when the market opened, we still had pre-market high up here, and we were on the hourly. This bar is a little off, but on the hourly, we were breaking and retesting on the 20 that I have on my charts. On the 15, we were breaking, retesting, and we were holding inside of this 15-minute bullish gap right here. 45 minutes, we could not break and close below this gap. So once I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm getting a little bit of, confidence to the upside, not for anything crazy, but just to take out the, which I don't know why this shows up here, but like the data highs were higher than this. I don't know why it shows here. Mine shows up here. But anyway, like on Thinkorswim, it's showing not here. It's showing above here. Anyway, I was like, okay, it's holding here for 45 minutes. It could pop up to take out that data high. It already took out the low. So once we held for the 45, I started looking for an entry long, and we had that's the 15-minute break and retest, the 5-minute break, retest, getting bought back up. The 2-minute, same thing, pushed up, tapped into this gap. That's when I entered, which was also on the 1-minute, shifted structure, tapped back into this gap. Green took out red, and this right here was previous day high. I felt that it had enough confluences to try it, and we held for a while, we pushed higher, but then we put in this equal equal high on the 15. I got taken out on a crazy candle. Then we pushed up one more time to take out those equals. I think I stopped trading like somewhere around here, because I said if this fails previous day high again, actually, no, that's a lie. I think I got out right around here because it started pushing up. I was waiting for another retest of the previous day high to give it another shot, you know? And then I said, oh, if this fails previous day high again, I'm just going to call it a day. So that was right around here, like 11:30-ish, somewhere here. I called it a day, and then what would you know? The nice little perfect short setup happens. And that short setup is 15-minute sweep, break structure, create this gap right here. Boom. Okay, 5-minute taps back into the gap, going even lower for an entry right here. 2-minute inverse in this fair value gap. You could even put it here, whatever. And yeah, and the 1 minute flipped right here too. This is the same setup. This is the same exact setup that I just see and happen again and again and again, that I am forcing myself to continue to take when it's there, because it works. You know, I don't know how else to say it other than it works. With my long, I originally had my $30 stop. I did shift it up a little bit just because the way it was going, if it was going to break, it was going to be dropping below all the moving averages, below previous day high, all that stuff, which if that all happened, like, I wanted to be out of the trade anyway. So on this big bar, I thought I was going to get freaking destroyed. Thankfully, it popped up pretty fast, and then I only ended up losing 14 bucks. So that was a-okay. I'm fine with this trade, and I would take it again. Hopefully, next time I'm around for this one, though. That's pretty much it. I just need to keep seeing the trades, keep taking them when they're there, keep that exposure therapy going, because I know myself now that, like, if I keep going without taking a trade, I'm just putting so much pressure on it, right? And it doesn't need all that pressure. It's if it's managed properly, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's just part of the data. But if I keep holding off, it's just like building like a pressure cooker. I'm just like, this has to be perfect, and then what do you know? It's not perfect because it's uncertain. It will never be perfect. Anything can happen at any time. So you just have to go based off of the data that you have and execute. Like, you just have to continue to execute. This is what I'm telling myself, by the way. So week 1 of trading exposure therapy went well. I am going to keep it up next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.